Aliens boasted about their strongest poison. A human drank it like morning coffee. The Galactic Council's emergency session had been called to order 3 times before the delegates stopped their panicked chittering. Ambassador Zix Thala of A. The hegemony struck her crystalline gavel against the podium, her 4 eyes narrowing at the chaos before her. "Order! We must have order!" she screeched, her translator converting her harmonic language into something the other species could understand. "The situation is far more dire than we initially calculated." In the center of the Great Hall, a holographic display showed surveillance footage from mining station Kepler 442b. The assembled aliens watched in horrified fascination as a lone, human figure walked calmly through what should have been a death trap. Counselor Vrak, a massive insectoid from the chitinous worlds, clicked his mandibles nervously. "The readings must be incorrect. No organic being can survive exposure to concentrated hegemony combat stimulant. We use it to dissolve hull plating." "The readings are accurate," confirmed Dr. Synthesis, the AI representative whose holographic form flickered with distress patterns. Human designation Marcus Chen consumed approximately 500 milliliters of grade A hegemony combat stimulant and showed no adverse effects. In fact, his productivity increased by 23%. The memory of that day still sent ripples of unease through the Council. The mining station had been under siege by the rebel faction known as the Iron Claw. In a desperate move, the station's hegemony overseer had activated the emergency defense protocol, flooding the facility with aerosolized combat stimulant. The substance was designed to be so toxic that even the hardy hegemony soldiers required full environmental suits to survive exposure. Every species in the galaxy had strict protocols regarding the substance. The Zephyrians' homeworld had been quarantined for decades after a single drop contaminated their water supply. The crystalline beings of Andromeda Prime could shatter from mere proximity to its vapors. Even the notoriously resilient Forgeborn considered it a weapon of mass destruction. But Marcus Chen had been trapped in Storage Bay 7 when the lockdown initiated. The surveillance showed him calmly assessing his situation as toxic clouds filled the chamber. Other footage revealed his discovery of an emergency supply cache containing concentrated stimulant in liquid form, labeled in multiple languages with warnings that roughly translated to "death in a bottle." What happened next had become the most watched piece of footage in galactic history. Marcus had examined the container, read the warning labels, and then, to the absolute horror of anyone watching, unscrewed the cap and took a careful sniff. His expression suggested mild disappointment, as if the aroma wasn't quite what he'd hoped for. Then, incredibly, he'd taken a small sip. The human had paused, rolled the liquid around in his mouth like some sort of connoisseur, and then proceeded to drink the entire container in steady gulps. "The truly disturbing part," Dr. Synthesis continued, "is his subsequent behavior. After consuming what should have been a lethal dose, human Marcus began humming and proceeded to single-handedly repair 17 damaged mining units. His work efficiency exceeded baseline parameters by margins we previously thought impossible." Ambassador Zixthala's translator crackled as she struggled to process the implications. "Our combat stimulant is derived from the venom sacs of Deathworld, predators. It's designed to enhance hegemony warriors by pushing their biology beyond safe limits for short combat bursts. How can a human metabolize something that dissolves our own equipment?" The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Keiko Tanaka, the human xenobiologist attached to the Council as an observer, requested permission to speak. The assembled aliens turned their various sensory organs toward her with a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. "Honorable delegates," she began, activating her own holographic display. "I believe I can explain Marcus's reaction. What you call combat stimulant has a chemical composition remarkably similar to caffeine, with additional compounds that mirror taurine and various B vitamins. The display showed molecular structures that meant nothing to most of the delegates, but everything to the few scientists present. In essence, Dr. Tanaka continued with barely suppressed amusement, your deadliest poison is functionally equivalent to an energy drink from Earth. Marcus likely experienced it as similar to drinking several cups of coffee mixed with what we call Red Bull. The silence that followed was deafening. Counselor Vrak's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. You're suggesting that humans regularly consume substances similar to our most potent toxin? Not similar, virtually identical. The primary difference is concentration. But Marcus has been working 18-hour shifts in space mining operations for the past 3 years. His caffeine tolerance is probably extraordinary even by human standards. Ambassador Zix Thala's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a pattern indicating deep contemplation. Dr. Tanaka, what exactly do humans consider to be poisonous? The xenobiologist's smile was perhaps more terrifying than anything the delegates had witnessed that day. Well, that's an interesting question. We have a saying on Earth. The dose makes the poison. Humans have been consuming what other species consider toxic for millennia. Alcohol, capsaicin, caffeine, theobromine. We've built our civilization around substances that could kill most of you. She gestured to her tablet, bringing up a list that made several delegates recoil. We drink ethanol for recreation, eat plants that produce chemical burns in our mouths for pleasure, and consider the fermented byproducts of bacteria to be delicacies. Oh, and chocolate, which most of you can't touch, is a daily staple for many humans. The implications settled over the council like a toxic cloud. If humanity's casual recreational substances were equivalent to their most dangerous weapons, what did that say about human physiology? More importantly, what did it suggest about humanity's potential as allies or enemies? Counselor Vrak leaned forward, his massive form casting shadows across the chamber. Dr. Tanaka, in your professional opinion, exactly how dangerous are humans? Dr. Tanaka's expression grew thoughtful. Counselor, I think you're asking the wrong question. The question isn't how dangerous we are, it's how differently we've evolved. Where you see poison, we see morning coffee. Where you see toxins, we see flavor enhancers. We're not trying to be dangerous, we're just trying to wake up. She paused, letting that sink in before delivering the final observation that would reshape galactic politics forever. Marcus wasn't being heroic when he drank. Your combat stimulant. He was just having a really long day and needed some caffeine. The fact that your most potent weapon happens to be our preferred breakfast beverage isn't intentional. It's just Tuesday for us. The council session was quietly adjourned. Within a week, humanity received its first formal invitation to join the Galactic Defense Initiative. After all, if humans could casually consume weapons-grade toxins and ask for sugar to go with it, perhaps it was better to have them as friends rather than enemies.